leaving behind a messy public feud filled with personal attacks and accusations. Shortly after leaving the Department of Government Efficiency after his scheduled tenure ended, Musk began lobbying against Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, calling the bill, which was passed by the US House last month and is awaiting a vote in the Senate, a disgusting abomination, even pushing to kill the bill. For a while, President Trump remained silent, until he didn't. Defending the bill, Trump attacked Musk, suggesting that the Tesla chief's disapproval of the bill was triggered by the removal of subsidies and mandates for electric vehicles, saying that Musk has Trump derangement syndrome.
But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here. And he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars. And it really is unfair. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others, too.
In a flurry of posts on X, Musk took credit for Trump's sweeping victory in last November's elections, and even suggested that the president appears in the unreleased Jeffrey Epstein files and called for his impeachment. But the feud has come at a cost, a big one especially for Musk, as the US president threatened to pull Musk's government subsidies and contracts, the lifeblood of the SpaceX program. Tesla's stock price took an immediate hit, wiping out a whopping $150 billion from Tesla's market cap. While reports suggest that the two may have cooled down temporarily, the uncertainty remains. After all, both men are mercurial and are not known to hold back when cornered. Disha Bagchi for NDTV World.
We're joined by Ari Hawkins. He's a reporter with online publication Politico. Ari, Politico has exclusive details, I understand, on a possible truce between two of the world's most powerful men. What is your publication saying? And I also hear that Politico had this interview, one-on-one interview with Trump yesterday as well.
That's right. In an interview with Politico, we saw that Trump was playing down effectively a lot of this sort of back and forth, talking about how things will keep going, it will be okay, making those kinds of statements clearly in a response to this kind of flare-up that we saw. However, one thing to note is that after that story went out there, we've seen more recently this morning that Trump has declined to take a call, or at least has no interest in taking a call at the very moment with Elon Musk to temper these concerns further. Meaning, while there are efforts on both sides to water some of this down, we saw obviously those remarks from Trump, but also Elon Musk on Twitter engaging with some folks that are trying to sort of find a little bit of a truce here. Despite the fact that we see them sort of signaling that they might want an off-ramp to this, it's pretty clear that this is the type of feud that is going to continue once it's already been set in motion.
Indeed, in many ways that making peace here would be inevitable, considering the stakes on both sides. That brings me to my next question here. Ari, what does Musk really stand to lose if he doesn't ensure that things simmer down?
Musk stands to lose his standing within the Republican Party. Musk has already alienated progressives, obviously, but also independents, meaning that this sort of Republican conservative base is his sort of key demographic that he needs to keep a hold of. And we already saw that Republicans in Congress, because of his criticism of this so-called Big Beautiful Bill, really taking issue with that. It's a thorn in their side. And despite Elon Musk's persistent popularity among some conservatives, this is definitely something that is going to hinder how effective he's able to speak with lawmakers and potentially connect with that conservative base, despite the fact that he is a very online person, which doesn't always necessarily translate directly to electoral politics.
And billions of dollars, of course, at stake for him with all his business interests and contracts with the federal government, which Trump has already threatened to rip apart.
That's right. And we saw another factor come into play here where he said that Trump's trade and tariff agenda would lead to a recession in the near future. And that's something that has been a persistent source of strain in the relationship. We saw Tesla, a very multinational company, is the type of organization that would be very impacted by an expansion of trade and
Right.
tariffs in particular. And that's something that we're going to see kind of come out. And it seems as if Elon Musk's criticism of his tariff policy in particular has sort of been outweighed recently by some of the other things about the Trump
Right,
agenda
right.
that Musk really likes. But now it seems that dynamic is flipped.
Just want to quickly ask you this in about 30 seconds. Which of Musk's business rivals really stand to benefit from this rift?
That's a good question. I think anyone, particularly in the tech space, could see a rise. You could see also a rise in folks like Mark Zuckerberg, who has been speaking. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast more recently, potentially could fill in that gap if Elon Musk really does alienate some of the more sort of conservative-leaning supporters of Musk. From a business standpoint, that's much more up in the air, particularly as we see sort of a rise of companies trying to make good with the Trump administration, boost investments, and really try to take that mantle away from Elon Musk. We'll have to see
Right.
how that goes in the next couple of weeks.
Ari Hawkins from Political, thank you very much for your time here on Washington Watch. In other news, now critics are slamming a U.S. travel ban on 12 countries, which President Trump says protects Americans from terror and public safety risks. Think tank Cato Institute says since 1975, only one person has been attacked on U.S. soil committed by somebody from those banned countries. Here's more on which nations made it into the controversial list.
We will not allow people to enter our country who wish to do us harm, and nothing will stop us from keeping America safe.
In a sweeping return to one of his most controversial policies, President Trump has reinstated a broad U.S. travel ban, in effect from 9th of June, this time targeting 12 countries with full restrictions and slapping partial bans on 7 others. The White House calls it a move to shield Americans from foreign terrorists and national security threats. But behind that justification lies a deeper ripple of fear and disruption. Students, families, and professionals from across Africa, Latin America, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East now face a wall they didn't see coming. Trump cited the recent attack in Boulder, Colorado, carried out by an Egyptian national who had overstayed his visa as the key trigger. But Egypt itself, notably, isn't on the banned list. The 12 fully banned nations include Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, Congo, Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. 7 more, including Venezuela, Cuba, Laos, and Sierra Leone, face partial restrictions. This ban is part of Trump's larger crackdown on immigration. In 2021, Biden reversed the policy, calling it a strain on our national conscience. President Trump says the list could be revised, but with one proclamation, the US has once again shut its doors to thousands, adding to the growing uncertainty amongst various legal immigrant groups. As the clock ticks down to 9th of June, families scramble and the futures of thousands hang in balance. Remains to be seen if the latest policy measure will stand the test of courts. With Rhythm Arcadia, Bureau Report, NDTV.
This week saw warnings from the US's biggest banks. JP Morgan's CEO Jamie Dimon says that the US bond market will crack under rising debt. His comments echo similar sentiments from the president of Goldman Sachs, John Waldron. Now, President Trump's mega bill is expected to see US debt skyrocket. The bill awaits Senate approval, where many Republicans have reservations on voting in favor of it. Let's get you more on this and the global repercussions of Trump's trade trade policy. I am joined by world-renowned economist Jeffrey Sachs for an exclusive interview. Thank you very much indeed, Professor Sachs, for joining us here on Washington Watch. Appreciate your time. Professor Sachs, President Trump's key reason for his trade policy is the world has taken advantage of the US. He points to various trade deficits, for example, with India. He thinks it's high time for a level playing field. Now, you've likened the approach to Mickey Mouse country. Why do you say that?
I said that the interpretation of trade deficits is a bit Mickey Mouse, meaning that it is dramatically wrong and oversimplified to the point of being ridiculous. Trade deficits occur when countries in the aggregate spend more than they produce. This is an identity, we say in economics. In other words, it's a precise definition of what we mean by a comprehensive trade deficit, which we measure as a country's current account deficit. The fact of the matter is the United States spends more than it produces. And the main reason for that is our chronic large budget deficit. In fact, our government acts as a kind of credit card for the nation. The government borrows at relatively low cost, or it used to borrow at relatively low cost, and then it would make transfers of income back to the population through various programs. And it's been doing that for more than 2 decades, and the debt has accumulated dramatically of the government. And the counterpart of that is massive spending on foreign goods. So we've had current account deficits alongside budget deficits. If President Trump is serious about wanting to reduce the external deficit, he needs to cut the internal deficit. Or to put it another way, if he wants to get these trade deficits down, he has to get the budget deficit down. But he seems intent on not doing that. He wants more tax cuts for his favored recipients, larger military spending, continued large deficits. So we'll have continued large trade deficits as well.
Right. Let's talk about that trade deficit. Now, one of many countries trying to strike a deal with the US is India. Some news reports suggesting that New Delhi has actually toughened its stance as it works to strike a deal more favorable to India. Now, you've said do not allow Trump to play India. How much leverage, though, do you think India really has at this juncture, given that the US is its largest trading partner?
Well, the first point I would say about the US economy is that it is large, but not a dominant or overwhelming part of the world economy, and a large but not dominant part of the US, the world demand for exports, whether from India or any other country. So I think the tariffs are harmful to India as they are also to other countries and to the United States. So I don't think that they're insignificant, but I would not let a national policy be overwhelmed by them. India has lots of potential trading partners. It has lots of markets worldwide. It's part of the BRICS, which is a very important and significant group of countries. I do believe India should join RCEP also, the next door neighbor free trade area that includes China, Japan, Korea, the 10 ASEAN countries, Australia, and New Zealand. If India were part of that, India's trade would be more assured, and India would find that it has a market of more than 2 billion people next door in which it's well engaged. So I think India has other alternatives and should not do somersaults to try to satisfy the United States. In particular, it should not discriminate against its other trade partners. It should not make concessions to the United States that undermine the most favored nation principle of international trade. That is that India is bound to give most favored nation trade status to all of its counterpart trading partners that are in the World Trade Organization. The United States should not break that basic principle of international trade because then we devolve into a game of favorites, into an endless round of negotiations and bilateral negotiations numbering in the thousands. So this would be terrible. Rather than having a world trading system, India should watch itself so that it doesn't get sucked into the U.S. game.
Right, Professor Sachs, let's get back to the US. The Fed, in its latest minutes of their meeting, have warned of an increasing recession risk. The US, as you know, has seen recessions before. What do you, though, see different this time around as far as the impact on the rest of the world goes?
Well, first, we're having a self-inflicted recession or economic crisis. The economy was not heading for a downturn before all of the uncertainties and instabilities of recent weeks took hold. These are uncertainties that are causing the Fed and private forecasters to revise their estimates. They've also caused a downturn, albeit with ups and downs, in consumer sentiment. There's just a tremendous amount of uncertainty. And that uncertainty is largely self-inflicted. We can't seem to have a rational economic policy that rationally examines where an economy should head, and in particular to digital and green technologies, that is low carbon. The U.S. has abandoned the low carbon road at the federal level of this administration. So we don't even know which direction to go because Trump has pulled the U.S. once again out of the Paris Climate Agreement and has downplayed structural transformation that's needed. And then comes the tariff disruptions of world trade. And now comes a budget policy that is, I guess, in Elon Musk's words, a monstrosity. And so this is our problem. We're making a mess of things internally. Here you have the richest economy in the world, but it just can't behave in a rational way.
Right, Professor Sachs, now Trump's mega bill is facing some opposition from Republican senators, not just Elon Musk, who, as we know, has been unrelenting, not mincing his words, especially in the past 24 hours. The bill is forecast at $2.4 trillion, some say over that as well, in debt over the next decade. If you could simply explain why this is such a huge problem for ordinary Americans.
Basically, there is no agreement in the United States about what the government should do and how it should pay for what it does. And the result is that we have a chronic situation where the government at the federal level takes in about 16% of gross domestic product and spends 22 or 23% of gross domestic product. That gap is our deficit of about 6 to 7% of GDP. And that deficit is financed by selling government debt, U.S. Treasury bills and bonds. That debt is rising sharply. We have a mountain of debt that has accumulated that is now about 100% of our national income. That means that as interest rates rise, the interest bill on this debt is now around 3% of our gross domestic product, and it will continue to rise because interest rates themselves are now rising, certainly at the long-term end, to above 5%, 5 percentage points, I should say, 5% per year yields. So we have a mountain of debt, a rising debt, rising interest rates on that debt, and this stretches out for decades to come on the current policy scenario. Our Congressional Budget Office projects that the debt will rise to above 150% of GDP. Well, what does that mean? It has many implications. One is financial instability. Governments with such large debts are unstable, and that is why Moody's just downgraded the U.S. credit rating by one notch, one step. That means higher borrowing costs, and that can lead to a vicious spiral where the borrowing costs rise. That exacerbates the deficits because you have to pay interest on this mountain of debt, and that leads to a spiral of instability.
Jeffrey Sachs, thank you very much indeed for your time here on Washington Watch, that exclusive interview with us here on NDTV. Time for a quick look at some other stories in brief. Democrat Zoran Mamdani, of Indian origin, tapping into his Desi roots to make his case for New York City mayor with a very Bollywood-styled campaign promo. Mamdani recently won a coveted endorsement from U.S. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Mamdani still has to make it through to the primaries on 24th June, which has largely settled into a two-way fight between the outsider Mamdani and former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Now, New York City leans heavily Democrat. Mamdani is the son of filmmaker Mira Nair. Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz has met President Donald Trump in Washington for the first time since becoming leader of Europe's biggest economy last month. In a meeting that Merz calls friendly, the two leaders discussed the Russia-Ukraine war, and Merz mentioned that D-Day, June 6th, was coming up, to which Trump had an interesting response.
Absolutely, and I'm here, Mr. President, to talk with you later on how we could contribute to that goal. And we all are looking for measures and for instruments to bring this terrible war to an end. And may I remind you that we are having June 6th tomorrow. This is D-Day anniversary, when the Americans once ended a war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick saying that he's very optimistic about prospects for a trade deal between the US and India, adding he thinks trade negotiators have found a place that really works for both countries. The Commerce Secretary says that India may get more favorable terms from being one of the first pacts agreed upon.
Discover the finest quality made-to-measure window dressings, exclusively online, delivered direct to your door. Shop now for an extra 20% off and free delivery at blindsdirect.co.uk.
The all-new Hyundai Insta 2025 World Electric Vehicle. The 2025 World Electric Vehicle is here and available for a 24-hour test drive. The all-new Hyundai Insta and Insta Cross. Are you in?
Okay, mate, gotta go. I'm off to a celebrity dinner party.
Hello, hello, it's Robbie Williams.
I brought something delicious.
Felix! Cats do what they want when they want to. Don't feel any need to impress you.
Dinner!
Live like your Felix. It's great to be a cat.
Purina.
Message delivery dans le voyage. Racing between the minutes, keep it from drying out. And voila.
Let's go. tastes all right.
Not all Sims are created equal. So here on the UK's best network, we've made one to meet the needs of families at home or on holiday. You'll get unlimited data, but we've made it shareable. That way you can always stay connected with the family when they need it most. Going away? You'll get 50 gigabytes of EU data roaming included so you can find the sites without a worry. And we've made that shareable too, all for just £24 a month. It's no wonder families choose EE. Offer ends 30th of June.
Step into your future with learning that can take you anywhere.
This one is really important on the side.
All by yourself. Listening to everybody say, be everybody else. Can't you see?
Thank you, Your Honor. The case is very, very simple.
Ain't nobody just like
The Open University. The future is open.
Looks like the spray tan guy will just come straight to your house. But how's it going with the chairman?
Good shot, Sir Rupert. Big news, he's confirmed profits are up again.
You know, Nationwide have shared their profits with over 4 million of their members.
We can't compete with that.
But shouldn't we try and do something similar?
Shareholders are the beating heart of this bank. Wedge me.
What's the matter? Lost your balls?
This year, we're giving £100 to every eligible member through our Fairer Share payment. Nationwide, a good way to bank.
3, 2, 1,
go!
Yeah, come on.
Guys. Add some play with National Lottery scratch cards.
It's pandemonium, it's pandalicious, it's pantastic. It's the world of Panda Bingo.
I like to make a cup of tea, get settled on the sofa and play Panda Bingo. It's like a little bit of me time. Well, me and the pandas.
Whether I'm out and about on my mobile or just at home on the laptop, I can play my favourite Panda Bingo games anytime, anywhere. I just love it.
Brilliant bingo rooms, great games, out of this world offers. Join today at pandabingo.com/bingo.
This is an urgent appeal to support children in Yemen. Years of conflict have caused devastating shortages of food and water and pushed the health system to the brink of collapse. With support from people like you, we can help many more children recover and thrive. Just £10 could help provide life-saving therapeutic food for one child for 1 week. Search UNICEF Yemen online, text Yemen to 85525 or scan the QR code to find out how you can help.
John from work said it's a lovely hike.
Triathlon, John.
Nice.
Right, Rosie, can I have the boots bag?
No, I meant the hiking boots bag. Did we not bring it?
Such a shame.
Such a shame.
With thousands of lower prices of boots, that's your summer sorted.
Get that Lucky Cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo, the site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. That's luckycowbingo.com/bingo.
With 3, save £336 on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. And claim a Galaxy Tab A9 Plus worth £259 when you buy today. Search 3 or head in-store today. Life needs a big network.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
At Direct Line, we know that for multi-property landlords, sometimes the tiniest of things can turn into way bigger problems. From niggly contract issues to keeping up with ever-changing legislation, That's why Direct Line's Landlord Insurance offers a 24/7 legal helpline as standard, because a call with someone could help to make the hairiest of problems feel that little bit smoother. Search Direct Line Landlord Insurance. We're on it.
The UK's first human heart transplant has been completed, supported by the British Heart Foundation.
We were a noisy generation, but it might be something quiet we do that becomes our greatest legacy. Leave a gift in your will to the British Heart Foundation and fund groundbreaking research that could help save millions of lives. Search BHF Wills.
Panda Bingo is the home of brilliant bingo rooms, great games, and out-of-this-world offers. It's absolute pandemonium at pandabingo.com/bingo.
I bought cars on finance, so I've made my claim.
If our lenders charge hidden commissions, then I've made my claim.
I could be on thousands.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim. It's so quick and simple.
You could be owed thousands in hidden commissions from vehicles bought on finance since 2007, even without the details.
I've made my claim.
Trust myclaimgroup.co.uk.
Claims made simple.
And in consonance with the ruling dispensation, that they've suspended this official and including the Bangalore City Commissioner means that they should also get sacked. When will Mr. Siddaramaiah and Mr. D.K. Shivkumar resign? Taking the moral responsibility.
Would you like to respond to that?
When will
the
Rahul
Chief
Gandhi
Minister
take
must
their
resign.
resignation?
That's the demand of the BJP. How would you respond?
The BJP wants some excuse or the other because they've been waiting for anything unfortunate to happen in Karnataka because, Karnataka has not been having any drought, no power shortage, no problem at all. So if at all you cannot really oust the government because of your political achievements that people have seen when you were in power.
Mr. Timaya, aren't you belittling the death of 11 people in the state possibly because there was an event which was taking place which shouldn't have happened?
Mr. Som, could you just, give me examples of how many BJP chief ministers have actually resigned because, some stampede happened in their state?
Does that mean that your chief minister shouldn't?
I'm not drawing parallels.
Of course you are.
I'm just trying to tell you. Yes, I'm just giving you an example. But Karnataka at least has suspended the police commissioner, the intelligence chief, the political secretary. Let me tell you, there have been instances like particularly this great, railways minister, even after 200 accidents, he doesn't even feel anything for the people who travel in the trains. But let me tell you, Karnataka government has tried everything to give out a message that they're very serious and nobody wanted this and nobody was waiting for this. But you've seen the kind of euphoria that was there the day, RCB won. Even the BJP guys were celebrating. BJP wanted an open bus to carry all these players and they conveniently deleted the tweet, which everybody has seen. But let me tell you, they also went on to call the Home Minister, coward or whatever it is, because, he didn't allow an open bus. And today they say that, why did you want to do this? But let me tell you, with the kind of frenzy that was there, no government could have stopped people from celebrating. The government just became part of it. Let me tell you, there was some mistake in terms of decisions that were made. Let me tell you, people also say that this IPL, this is basically commercial and things like that. But when people want something like that, the government cannot be absolutely apathetic and say that, we don't care about
a couple of key points over here. It is the job of the government to govern. If that means saying no, it means saying no. You cannot say that a government can be apathetic or whatever it is and let people do whatever. Then you end up having people dying. But I think the larger question is the secretary to the chief minister having been suspended.
You know that.
Is it not true that the secretary to the chief minister was somebody who actually said, no, let's go ahead with all of this, when the police actually said
that has to be investigated,
to have been delayed or postponed?
I'm not an authority or I'm not competent to comment about who made a call to whom because I'm not the intelligence chief of Karnataka.
But that's the problem. Was there any intelligence chief? And this is the other part of the problem.
There was, and he has been moved out of that position now.
So basically what you're saying is that it's the police which is at fault, the political leadership?
No. It is being investigated. Why do you come to the conclusion so fast?
But how have you reached the conclusion that the police is wrong so fast and the political leadership isn't? How have you reached that conclusion that the police is responsible and the political leadership
have
isn't?
just been suspended. They have not.
Right. And what about political
positions are
leaders
punished.
who've been? Should there be not more action about those?
Okay, maybe
leaders,
that
the
is
chief
coming
minister,
in, but let me
the
tell you
deputy
that,
chief
the
minister?
government is actually studying. It's a matter of almost about 5 to 6 lakh people, with about 2 lakh people near Vidhan Saud and about 3.5 lakh people near Chinnaswamy Stadium, and so many people all around. Let me tell you, you will have to take some time to come to a conclusion.
Okay.
Let me tell you, there are some kinds of celebrations which happen when they have to happen. People may not agree. Let me tell you, there was this frenzy and the government just joined in. Maybe that is something that has to be thought about. But such things happen, and I'm very sorry this has happened. The government wanted to give as best a governance as possible. Nobody's intention is that anybody should die.
Okay,
I hope you all
Chetan
agree.
Ahimsa, is that response okay for you? Such things happen. It's not the government's intention to cause any harm. Does that, as an explanation, affect you, work for you?
I'm not convinced. First of all, we're all deeply saddened that 11 people have lost their lives. Number one, we have to look at it in two phases. Number one, we have to look at it that this is clearly an avoidable tragedy, and we lack a forward-thinking leadership and political leadership. And number two, what are they doing after the fact? How are they acting? Number one, we say that this seemed to be a PR stunt, seemed to get benefits, was done right away without proper thought process and preparation and execution that led to this, so this is avoidable. Secondly, who is the ones that are being blamed for this? You're blaming the police top brass for this. Police have proven, if they're given time, for example, when Puneet Rajkumar's funeral, when lakhs came in, well, they can handle the situation. And the police have also said that push it to Sunday, it'll be a free day. That's what the sources say. But you're still blaming the police, and this seems to be blaming the wrong people. In fact, like our DCM, DK Shukumar, he actually went to HAL and gave these guys a red carpet welcome, who are corporate-sponsored cricket players, and he seemed to be holding the cup for a PR gimmick. I mean, shouldn't you be held responsible? Why don't you take the moral responsibility and resign, Mr. DK Shukumar, for the 11 lives and really be a true leader? And we look at Mr. Yatindra Siddaramaiah talk. He says, no, the Vidhan Sauda event had nothing to do with the Chinnaswamy event. They're two different events. First of all, the Vidhan Sauda event, we don't need that. It doesn't have to be on the same day, two events. What does the Vidhan Sauda and the Karnataka government have to even do with this corporate club that is the RCB and the IPL? Why do you have it? Number three, you know that there's a limited amount of police force. It was already chaos in the night before. They are already tired. You put a whole bunch of police force where the VIPs in the Vidhan Sauda, and there's going to be a lack of police force in the Chinnaswamy Stadium. And this is for like these CM's grandson to get an autograph. This is for Jamir Ahmed's son to get autographs. I mean, this is clearly self-serving. And then I also asked the RCB players, I mean, a tweet, is that enough? These are 11 people who gave their lives because they wanted to see you. They cared about you. They admired you. They, worthy or not, you're deserving or not is a different question. But you should have the right. You should actually talk about this, come out and express your sadness for this and what has happened and people giving their lives. We are very dismayed that these RCB players, they might say Isala Kap Namde and mouth a couple Kannada dialogues for profit, but they're clearly not showing any kind of remorse or sadness for the death of what has happened, and we expect more.
Sanjay Sahai, the other aspect of this is the RCB itself. The head of marketing and others who the police are now investigating. Do we not need to also take a look at how, they perhaps are equally culpable in this entire case?
I think we start with something which has already been stated on this program, that there was a frenzy. The government joined, people had to pay, and finally it was the police which was made a scapegoat. So I think it precisely summarizes as to what is the sentiment and what has happened in practice. The capability of the political class, not only in Karnataka, to create man-made fatal tragedies and the capability to get away with it, I think it is the most successful democratic formula which has been created and successfully been doctored to us all the while. So what has happened is, in the last 3 days, we have been able to successfully create a smokescreen. And this smokescreen will provide cover to the people who actually decided. And people who actually decided, I don't think they're a part of whatever the contours which are made so far. Now coming to the RCB and KSCA part of it. RCB and KSCA part of it, If that is to be taken, there is a culpability involved and there's a criminal negligence involved. So they are being booked for that, and there's also action being taken against them if that is the case. But my understanding is, on the face of it, and for any rational person, and I'm a Bangalorean for ages, see, be an unwritten consent with which this whole exercise happened. And as in the case of anything which falls flat, gets broken, or ends into a fatality, now people start cribbing amongst themselves and try to put blame on the other. It is a technical issue whether they have taken permission or not. Whether it was known or it was not known, that is the critical issue. And the whole country knows that the government of Karnataka, the police, KSC, RCB, everybody was aware of it. And each of these stakeholders, they wanted to extract their pound of flesh. And that drama went awry. And it ended in wherever it has ended.
No, but Mr. Sahai, just to
the whole thing is operated out of social media.
No, but Mr. Sahai, what does it say of the police force that, they came under political pressure, apparently, allegedly, and then they looked the other way when this madness happened?
See, there is nothing called political pressure in this country. Everything is run by the political class. See, gone are the days.
No, Mr. Sahai, you have been an exemplary police officer. 1 minute, sir, Mr. Sahai. If you were confronted with this situation, the secretary to the chief minister says, sorry, you will go ahead with this function. Are you meaning to tell me that you will say, okay, sir, I'll go ahead and do it?
I have faced a number of these situations. If you want, I can narrate. But you should be able to stick your neck after that.
That's my point.
Yes.
That's my point. The hallmark of policing is when you can turn up and tell the chief minister on his face, I am an authority, it is my job, I will not allow it.
Correct. And very few of the police officers will do that. The second point is, over decades, policing slowly has been dictated by political class in a manner that police officers also feel today that they are on the same page, and the political class also understands policing in exactly the same manner, and they have been talking of crowd management, they have been talking of criminality and criminal negligence in a manner which not even a police officer will talk about. The most important part is, Vidhan saw the program or whatever security arrangements. Who handled that? It's the same police which handled. It's same Dayanand who handled. And it's the same people who are handling in Chinnaswamy. Now, what is the great difference about it? It is exactly the same.
Ms. Shivaram, let me come to you first. You're a senior journalist and an eyewitness. Could you give me an idea of where you were and what you saw?
Vishnu, thank you for getting me on this program to say what I saw. It's very, very unfortunate. And when are we going to get human? We are all discussing about arrests and heads rolling. The right heads have to roll. When are we going to get human? Because I saw 6 lifeless bodies of young kids being carried away. In a matter of 10 minutes, I saw 6 of them, one after another, lifelessly being carried on the shoulders of volunteers. What kind of a system are we in? What kind of governance do we have by the elected representatives? It's not about the blame game. It's not about someone taking responsibility, but it is all there to see. These kids have come there, to celebrate, but what kind of a celebration did it end in? If there were some ambulances on the other side, gate 7, gate 8, or gate 10, where this happened, the kids didn't have to be carried 150 to 200 meters on shoulders of people. Probably the golden moment of saving them was lost. So who is responsible for not having ambulances at those gates? Second, the bodies of these kids have gone past, and just 10 meters on the other side is a celebration. The DJ is going on, pepping up the crowd. There is cheering. The players from the balcony are showing the cup, and people are celebrating. What kind of a society are we? When are we going to get human? Because it was really shameful that I was standing there and watching this drama of celebration. How can you say people are not culpable if they are knowing fully well so many deaths have happened? How can they be standing there and celebrating? I think we are a very inhuman society going by these standards. And yes, there was a stampede. Everybody knew about it. What was the risk management that was put in place? Why was there no anticipation? The crowds were building up from 1 o'clock. The surging crowds was there to see. Did we not have a plan B, a plan C in place for a risk management? The least they could have done is there was space for some ambulances to be put there. A team of paramedics could have been put there.
Yeah.
Lives could have been saved.
No, it's just shocking. Dr. Lakshmi Ashwin Gowda, DK Shiv Kumar asking some questions. When asked, he says, how am I responsible? What more can the government do? And that the government has done everything to ensure justice. Is that an acceptable answer to you?
So only we call him as so callous, cavernous, inhuman, inhuman, and extremely inhuman. Because they're so insensitive that they'll pass such a remarks even after saying the tragedy. It is the theory of karma that will definitely hit them back. It is the curse of the many innocent civilians and their family members. It will definitely hit them back. See, they have announced mere 11 lakh per family of the bereaved souls. It is not any justice served to the people of, justice served to the departed souls. And it is very meager amount. And I'm so sorry to tell this fact. Even the RCB players, they're so lucrative and they've earned thousands of crores out of these matches. And then none of them have bothered to visit even the hospitals, to visit even the injured patients, injured civilians. They've just run away. I don't know where are they now. They've just disappeared into the air. And these politicians, these callous and cavernous and inhuman politicians are running the ground, and definitely it will this karma will definitely hit them back. And one more thing, we definitely require a judicial inquiry. We don't want anything lesser than that, because then only the justice will be served. And this condemnable act of sacking the police officials, including Mr.